Kate, and this is my reactive dog, Glia. Glia and I are here today to talk to you guys about the most secure gear that we have found to help us be safe out on the trail. Glia has been with me for about 9 years now. I adopted her from a humane society in 2011, and we've done a lot of work on training with counter conditioning and desensitization. Her reactivity is mostly towards other dogs. Occasionally she has a prey drive towards like squirrels or rabbits or things like that. But mostly it's a dog reactivity. And so we have done a lot of training to the point where she can walk and hike very comfortably and easily. But throughout that process of training, it was so important for us to find good, secure gear. And we did a lot of trial and error to find the setup that worked the best for us. And as a result, since it took us a couple years to figure out how to make sure we had safe gear that she couldn't slip out of, we want to share what we use with you guys. So the very first thing that we use regularly is the treat pouch. Our treat pouch is a very, very important part of our hikes. We want to make sure that there's high value treats along on every hike so that I can reward her for appropriate behaviors and also pair up her triggers with positive reinforcement. So for her, she's come a long way in 9 years. We don't always have to fully treat every time we see a dog, but in the beginning, it was you see another dog, we pull off the trail and reins treats. So we've done a lot of training. If you are interested in some of the counter conditioning and desensitization protocols for reactive dogs, I'd encourage you to check out careforreactivedogs.com. We also have that in several of our reactive dog posts on my blog, positivelyintrepid.com. And we hope that you will use some of those resources to do some training with your dog. But in the meantime, let's get to the gear. The very first thing that we use is her collar. Collars are very important when we go on hikes because one, they have her identification. So we have a phone number on here in case she were ever to get loose. Then it's also a handle for me. She mostly hikes in a harness, but this extra handle is something else to grab onto if there's a bad reactivity episode that I'm not able to prevent. If we get startled by another dog running up to us who's coming into her face aggressively, that kind of thing. Martingale collars are really nice because they have two loops, and the main loop just slides over her head like this. Perfect. And then the second loop, when you pull on it, everything tightens. And we had an episode in the first couple of years of owning her where she slipped a couple collars. No one got hurt, nothing bad happened, but those reactivity episodes as she's running towards someone, that's scary for me and that's scary for whoever she's running at, and we do not want her to get loose and have a reactive episode. So this martingale collar, the leash can be attached here, but I use it just to hold here. It does not slide over her head if it's adequately tightened. Now, of course, you don't want it so tight that it chokes your dog, but just tight enough that it doesn't come up over their head. So, she's got her collar. What's next? The harness. Glia and I have tried a lot of harnesses over the years, and we have settled on a couple harnesses that work very well for us. The first harness that we fell in love with is this Ruffwear Webmaster. The biggest difference of this harness compared to harnesses that we had used before it is that it has a belly strap. So not only does it kind of attach right behind her armpits, it also attaches behind her rib cage, and that makes it really almost impossible for her to slip out of. The only way she could get out of this is if something broke on it, and so far it's been a durable, safe harness for us. So we'll have her get dressed with this, slide it over her head. We'll see if she will stand up for us. Good girl. All right, so she has to step through this one. No stealing treats. Good girl. And then this snaps here, and the snaps are on my side on this one. And snaps there. And there you can see how this belly strap really prevents it from coming forward. So if she backs up, she's not getting out of this harness. She goes forward, she's not getting out of this harness. And it has a nice handle, which is super helpful. She's small enough that if we are charged by an oncoming dog and we're unable to get away, I can use this to help me lift her into my arms. Which, she doesn't love the lifting, but it works in an emergency situation. So that's our harness. We do often these days hike in a flag line version of a Ruffwear harness. So this one here is my Ruffwear flag line harness. And it's fairly similar. It still has the belly strap, but it doesn't go quite as far back. Let me just shift her into view. It doesn't go quite as far back on her belly as this Webmaster one does. Okay. Can you come closer again? Yeah, good dog. So once we have both the collar and the harness on, the next piece of equipment we need is her leash. Leashes can vary a lot and everyone has different preferences. We recommend when you are starting training to have a solid 6 foot or less length leash. Personally, I really like hands-free leashes when I'm out hiking. I don't know about you, but I take a lot of pictures, I have to pick up dog poop, and lots of times that takes my hands away. And if I'm distracted and she darts at something and I'm holding it loosely, a leash can slip out. And so the waist leashes buckle around my waist, so I don't have to hold them when I'm distracted. This one here is a Tough Mutt leash. It has a little bungee here, it has a handle up by the waist belt to hold on to, and it has a handle that'll be down by the dog. I also like it because it detaches from my waist, so if she tangles around something and I need to take it off for a second, I can kind of convert it into just a standard leash. But mostly it stays attached. And then this part here will clip to Glia. And you can see our nice little handle down by her harness. So if we're walking through crowded areas, like when we went and visited national parks, I have a handle down close to her to help guide her through some of those areas. All right, she's doing good. We'll give her another treat here. The bungee part of this Tough Mutt leash is starting to get a little bit worn out. So we have recently gotten a rough wear leash. It's the flat out leash. And I have it connected to her gentle leader. All right, there we go. This one does not connect at the waist belt, but it does still have this nice handle that you can use down by the dog. So it's been working really well for us. We've been really happy with that hands-free leash as well. And then for some dogs, a muzzle is going to be an important part of beginning hiking when they are reactive dogs. Muzzles, I know they can have a bad connotation, but honestly, they are a wonderful thing and they really do mark you as a good dog owner. If you're aware that your dog is a bite risk, hiking with a muzzle is a safety thing for everyone. It helps everyone feel secure and safe around a dog who might be reacting. And it helps prevent the worst from happening. So don't hesitate to use a muzzle if your dog needs one, because again, safety is the #1 concern when it comes to hiking with a reactive dog. And all of this gear that's meant to keep her from slipping out of any of her harnesses or collars, and making sure we have a good sturdy leash, that's all about safety both for her and for other dogs on the trail. If she were to run up barking and reacting to another dog, it would be really easy for a dog fight to break out, and it's so important that she is under control on the trail. And of course, as we mentioned before, the training is a big part of it, but this gear is very helpful. In the neighborhoods or really crowded areas, you might need a little bit more control than what a harness will provide. And so in those situations, we recommend some type of head halter. For Glia, we've used the gentle leader, and the gentle leader goes on. She slips her nose into it. Yep, just like that. Good job. And then it buckles up here behind her ears. And then the leash attaches underneath. And it gives me a little bit more control of her head if I need to help her turn away from things that are triggering to her. Again, training will get you a long way there too, but again, a lot of these equipment gear pieces are really as backups, and they're there in an emergency to make sure that your dog is safe and secure. All right, we hope that this was helpful to some of you. Reactive dogs can be a lot of work, but there are some great dogs out there. She is my favorite. She's a wonderful dog, and she's well worth the training that we've had to put into things to be able to become a good hiking team out on the trail. So happy trails, everyone. Happy hiking, and thanks for watching this video.